Hello and welcome to our presentation on government efficiency in post-apartheid South Africa.
Our guiding research question is, what best accounts for a mixed viewpoint regarding government efficiency and activism in South Africa? With this question, we sought to find out why certain people believe South African government operated efficiently and others thought the opposite. The dataset used is the Afrobarometer 2005 to 2006 and the N is 2400.
Our rationale for this research is based off of ASFIC's research entitled Trust in the Post-Apartheid Government of South Africa, the Roles of Identity and Policy in Post-Apartheid Performance. He concluded that government performance is affected by trust, and trust in turn is affected by several outliers, most notably identity. Our research is based off of this, as we are trying to see which outlier best accounts for a belief in effective government in South Africa.
Our first independent variable is education. We hypothesize that those more educated will understand the effort involved in handling the policy issues covered in our dependent variable, so they will have a more favorable view of government efficiency. Our second independent variable is race. Due to the context of the apartheid in South Africa, we hypothesize that white South Africans will view government efficiency more poorly as opposed to black South Africans who will view it more favorably. Our third independent variable is the living conditions of the respondent. We hypothesize that those with favorable living conditions will be more content with how things currently are, while those less fortunate will seek change to help their situations.
Our index was created using 9 different indicators, all pertaining to government efficiency. Altogether, they received a Cronbach's alpha score of 0.8518. Since this is above 0.60, we can conclude that these indicators are related enough to combine into an index. In addition, since the alpha if item goes down for all indicators, we can conclude that all indicators are strong in measuring government efficiency. Our index received a mean of 5.175 and a standard deviation score of 2.295, indicating that most people believe the government is moderately efficient. This is also supported by the median of 5.28. In addition, since the skewness is negative 0.018, which is less than negative 1, we can determine the data is approximately symmetric and the distribution of answers is fairly even.
After running a cross-tabulation on our first independent variable, we can determine that our hypothesis is correct because there is a consistent pattern of those less educated viewing government efficiency less favorably and those of the higher education viewing it more favorably. This is backed up by a strong Tau-B score of 0.3229, which indicates a strong positive relationship showing a link between education and views of government efficiency. Our hypothesis is weakened, though, by a Pearson's R-score of 0.42774, which indicates that this could be a result of chance, so we cannot reject the null hypothesis of no correlation as a result.
After running a cross-tabulation on our second independent variable, we can determine that our second hypothesis can be accepted, and this acceptance is not due to chance due to the Pearson R value of 0.0000. There seems to be a pattern that shows black South Africans viewing the government more positively, with whites viewing it more negatively. Although this could be concluded by observing the cross-tabulations, a Tau-C score of 0.11174 accepts this hypothesis, but suggests a weak relationship between race and views on government efficiency. Low variance in the sample size may also pose a problem, causing groups to be over or underrepresented. As a result, our hypothesis can be rejected, but the null hypothesis can also be accepted, stating that there is no discernible difference between race and their views on government efficiency because the data is too weak to be conclusive.
After running a cross-tabulation on our third independent variable, we can determine that our hypothesis can be accepted as it shows a positive relationship between our dependent variable and living conditions. This data is supported by a Pearson's R of 0.0000, indicating that this pattern is not a result of chance. Although the majority of respondents view government efficiency as somewhat efficient, there is still evidence in the distribution of answers that shows a link between living conditions and government efficiency. This is supported by a Tau-C of 0.22102, which indicates a moderate positive relationship between the two variables. We can thus reject the null hypothesis and state that this correlation is statistically significant.
Through our cross-tabulations, we can conclude that while there is some correlation between views on government efficiency and the respondent's education, a low Tau-B score prohibits us from rejecting the null hypothesis, making education not a strong indicator of why people view government efficiency the way they do. In addition, although race has a visible correlation in the cross-tabulations, a low Tau-C score indicates that this relationship is weak. Finally, our third independent variable has a visible correlation and a moderate Tau-C score, accepting our hypothesis and showing that living conditions best account for why people view government efficiency the way they do. Our research is consistent with ASFIC's research on trust in public policy in South Africa, as we can conclude that identity does in fact shape the way people view government efficiency.
Since we concluded that those with less favorable living conditions view government efficiency more poorly, the government of South Africa can use our data with policy implications by providing to those with poorer living conditions in order to gain support. Further research on this topic can provide further insight on where government focus should be by doing more specialized surveys on different regions in South Africa to provide a more in-depth analysis of who needs help in which areas.